Welcome to this week's Impact, which is several hours to the next day. I'm sorry, guys. I had no internet. From 7:45 last night, my internet went poof. Was gone. It started raining here from the storm, Dorian storm. The Dorian hurricane. It went past New York. Really didn't hit it hard, but my internet was gone. There was no internet. So until, when did it really come back? Like about maybe 3 in the morning. And I stayed up late, hoping that it would come on and maybe I could catch Impact on a site and watch and then upload it and bring it to you. But nope. And I got tired. I had to go to sleep. So this is being done in the afternoon, nearing evening. I managed to see it, and this is what I thought about it. How can I say this? The show was good. It was. But the problem here was this. There's not much going into Bound for Glory. I'm being honest here. There's very little being built in the Bound for Glory. You got nothing built for the North. You got nothing built for, Jake Chris. I mean, Brian Cage has been set up, and I will talk about Brian Cage and the lovely ending of the show. But this really doesn't build in the Bound for Glory. Really doesn't. So the first thing we're going to talk about is Havoc versus Su Yung, which I don't understand why they didn't leave this for Bound for Glory. Look, the thing that gets me with Havoc and Su Yung, I'm glad to see that Taya Valkyrie got the distinction of being the longest running champion of the Knockouts. I'm cool with that. But to be honest, even though it's great to see that she's been given that moniker, wouldn't it have been better for her to drop the strap to Havoc and then have a feud between Havoc and Su Yung culminating into Bound for Glory? Because it would have at least made sense with the storyline they had months ago. Even though they dropped it, you could have at least incorporated something into it. That's the truth. Was the match bad? No, I liked the match. But it didn't make me happy to see there was no title on the line and no real good reason to have this right now. Why couldn't you have Havoc go up against a Taya Valkyrie? And then after that, if it had to be a Bound for Glory, and Havoc won the title from Taya Valkyrie, which would make sense, then you have the feud with Su Yung. Why not still have Father Mitchell if he was still available? It counts if he was available. I understand. If he wasn't available, and Su Yung and Havoc still had interaction, it would have been alright. But in this situation, it just doesn't feel right for me. Havoc had a good match with her. In the end, they both were outside the ring, and the ref was fighting with Havoc a lot. Havoc was fighting with the ref, and in the end, Su Yung sprays Mitts. I think the reason I'm botching this, and believe me, the reason I'm botching this is it's upsetting me that they could have built this better going into Bound for Glory. They could have had a match with them going to Bound for Glory, culminating in a title. And then you could have started a feud then. I'm being honest here. This is what I said earlier, and I still stand by it. Havoc versus Taya, who's already known as the longest running knockout. She loses the title at Bound for Glory. It could still happen, but she loses the title at Bound for Glory. And then Havoc has a straight feud with Su Yung. That's where I felt. Fallah Bahh versus Moose. I'm wondering what they're going to do with Fallah Bahh now that Shamrock is going to be dealing with Moose from now on, because I think maybe I don't think they're going to do another match between him and Fallah Bahh, because I think they got at least 1 or 2 more tapings left, and I don't think Moose is going to be on TV. They're going to do some more video packages talking about him and Shamrock. That's what I believe is going to happen since this match happened. I don't believe it's going to continue. I think it's over between him and Fallah Bahh. And then I think of Fallah Bahh, who he started talking. He said 3. Is it 3? Instead of saying bah, he says 3. So it looks like they're finally letting him talk, or he wants to talk. But I'm wondering where they're going to go with Fallah Bahh. What are they going to do with him now? If he's not going to be dealing with Moose, where does he go? Does he just sit in the back? I want to see Fallah Bahh do something. KM is not there right now. So you got to do something with him. Do something. That's what I'm hoping. The match ends with Fallah Bahh losing and then getting a ankle lock from Moose, trying to show that he can do submission. Maybe he should have did that during the match. It would have been better if he did it during the match, not after the match. I think that would have been better. And then Fallah had tapped out to that. That's just me. The Tommy segment with Tessa Blanchard. This made no sense. If anybody liked it, cool. But for me personally, this made no sense. Why is Tessa so determined to destroy OVE when the best way to really mess up OVE is to go after Jake Crist? I'm sorry, guys. Look, if nobody wants to see her go after a man's title, I get you. But we're gone way too far now. If this was like a month or two feud, and then she heads back into the knockouts, that's fine. But this has been going on for how many months? This is beyond 2 months. They did this during the summer and the beginning of spring between her and Sami Callihan. This is at least 4 months or more now. They must do something that culminates in something more than just her beating OVE up, all of them. It must be leading to a title. Because it makes no sense her beating Sami. She already did it. Even if she beat him with Tommy, doesn't matter. It's over. She won a match. And he's going to the main event with Brian Cage. What does this actually lead? It doesn't lead anywhere. Nowhere. This is just filler now. So if you're going to do that, make it productive. Let Jake Crist eventually have a match against Tessa and let him drop the damn strap to her. That would make the best sense. I'm not saying it's great sense, because the feud itself with its story has sucked. But you gotta salvage it somehow. You gotta. Now, Johnny Swinger. Doesn't he look like Dancing Inferno? Tell me he looks like Dancing Inferno or not, because he looks like Dancing Inferno. Glenn Gerberti. I don't know what to make of this. They're bringing back Glenn again, if this is Glenn. And they're making him the Johnny Swinger. Hitting on 2 women. Really? Where does this lead? I don't know. Now, the Alyssa and Eddie segment just... cringe. I'm sorry, it was cringe. Whoever the woman... I don't recognize the girl who was trying to hit on Eddie, saying, and this is basically the way I perceived it, "Oh, Eddie, you showed me how big you are." And Kenny, oh my goodness, he was bigger. I know she didn't say that exactly, but she was trying to get over the premise that she fucked Eddie and Kenny. And the thing that gets me, this is what it gets me. Eddie getting angry that Ace was messing with his woman, and she said, "How can you act like this?" But then when the flip side happened, instant smack to the face, and you see it in my face, she whacked the living hell out of him. And then Ace Austin comes. So it's like, where does this lead? Where? I'm not even going to talk about anything else when it comes to that. It just, it doesn't feel right. This feels like cringe. And that woman who played the woman messing with Eddie, and you saw after that him trying to pay her off. Just, couldn't they have gotten a better actress? I don't care if she's a wrestler. She hammed it up too much. It turned me off. Sexy as hell. She's a gorgeous woman. But she sucked. Now, okay, TJP versus Golden Magic. I felt that was the second best match of the night. And it was sloppy at the end. There's no doubting it. But in the beginning and the middle of the match was very good. Crowd, unfortunately, was not really interested. To a certain extent. Look, I know that these small arenas don't make a lot of noise. But if they're not cheering, you know there's something wrong. Now, they were cheering to a certain extent, but it wasn't everybody. It was only a few people, and that's sad. What was the point of that? It just, In the end, TJP wins, but what does this really give him? Look, I said this clearly. If they're not going to do something with Tessa other than OVE, have TJP go after the title against Jake Crist. You need to do something with Jake. You need to do something with the golden draw. So let him go up against TJP. That's what I'm hoping will happen possibly after Bound for Glory. Because it looks like they're not really doing anything unless they are going to book Tessa to deal with Jake Crist at Bound for Glory. If they're not going to do it, then have TJP go up against Jake Crist either at Bound for Glory or afterward. At least then TJP will not feel like he's filler. And he shouldn't. The guy is capable of talking. The guy is very good in the ring. He's got a great presence in the ring. He's got charisma. We got to be doing something with him. He can't just be spinning his wheels unless he doesn't have a contract. And that's a good question. Does TJP have a contract with Impact Wrestling? Is he an independent contract and he just comes and goes? That'd just be, that'd be such a waste. Now, you got Mad Dog Fulton versus RVD. An okay match. It was okay. I didn't have a problem with it. But where does it lead for Mad Dog Fulton? This is the thing I see with Mad Dog Fulton. He really feels like he should be doing something more than what he's doing now. Maybe they need to break him away next year and let him go off on his own and just be destructive. That's what I like to see. We need a monster in the division. We don't got one. He's locked up with OVE. They need to get him away from OVE and do something to do. It's like doo-doo, it's shit. They need more from Mad Dog Fulton. Now talking about shit, Deaner Farm. The only person that was funny was Raju. And that's saying a lot. I would have liked to see the Deaners deal with Indian tradition and culture. Something different. Instead of what they always go to, having people at a farm or having just an American thing. Because it's basically been done. And in this situation, it has been done that well. Is it a bit funny? Gama's trying. But it just feels empty. Raju is the only person that's trying really hard to make it funny. And to be honest, even though he got thrown into the drink, and you can see it in my face, it just is not enough. I would have liked to see them deal with Indian culture. They could have done it. I wanted to see that. Now, we have Rosemary and Jordynne Grace. Jordynne Grace wearing kind of a skirt, looking nice with a nice black top. I'm trying not to be sexually over innuendoed, but I know there are women and men who believe that Jordynne Grace is damn good looking with a great rack. There's your innuendo. But where does this actually lead us between Jordynne Grace and Rosemary? Rosemary saying, well, let me crank this back. Jordynne Grace said, look, you asked me not to get in your business. I did that. Now, why are you in my business? I don't need you. Stay out of it. And then Rosemary says the most dumbest thing, saying, oh, we're so glad to know that we don't need to do this anymore. But what the shadows tell us to do is what we must do. The shadows basically says something, I have to do it. Really? Really? They're my face. This is so... Instead of doing something with Rosemary, you're doing nothing with Rosemary. Why would you use the shadows as an excuse for her to be with Jordynne Grace? Honestly, she should have said, I'm here because of one person, not you. And that is Kira. She has been taken over by the darkness. I'm going to clean her up. That would have solved the problem, because at least then it would make sense from the storyline that we had months ago. Because as it stands, this is empty. It is. It just is. The Rascals with Willie Mack and... What was that? What was that? Trey could not get no weed. in Mexico. He looked around, he went to every spot, he even tried to be a seller and he couldn't pass a damn drug test. What? And then Willie and Rich come out saying, oh, we got our mess. We got the business. What? Why are they still going with this? This is sad. Why are you throwing Willie Mack and throwing Rich and Willie Mack should be dealing with the tag division right now against the North. The Rascals should be dealing with the North. These segments suck. I said it months ago and I still stand by it. They don't care about the Rascals. And now they throw Willie Mack and they throw Rich Swann, who supposedly, and I want to make this clear that people were telling me that Tessa could not become a part of OVE. If I remember correctly, isn't Rich Swann from Georgia? They asked him, they demanded him to join OVE. So saying that Tessa couldn't become a part of it, got you. You're wrong. So we get the storyline of Rich Swann and Sami Callihan, one of the hottest things we had most of the year, before it went dead. And now he's working with the Rascals. What a waste. What a freaking waste. I have to be honest. Now, how can I say this? The ending of the show. The feel-good moment of the show. Brian Cage comes out and he basically addresses what's been going on. Can he wrestle? Will he be a Bound for Glory? Melissa was with him. Now, he says, no one's taking this title off me. Not unless they beat me. And I've been told I'm cleared for Bound for Glory. I will be there and he will get his chance and I will whoop his ass. But then he turns to Melissa and in a John Cena and Nikki Bella moment, because this actually happened with them because they were engaged in real life, he turns to Melissa and he says simply, hey, I remember you saying in an interview there was more things important than wrestling and titles. And you're right. And next to me, not exactly, these are not exact words, but he pretty much said, having time to spend at home because of my injury gave me time to be with the ones I love, particularly her. And I saw the bulge in his pocket, you see it in my face. I knew before he even said what he was going to say, there's one more thing. And I saw the bulge in his pocket. I said, oh, they're not going to do the engagement thing. They do the engagement thing. This is also my face. It had to happen. It did happen. You know what? It wasn't bad because in this situation where they're already married, because if you saw the last stream, Melissa, well, two streams before, one stream before, Melissa's already legally married to Brian Cage. She and he are married. They have a child together and now they solidified it. I'm happy for them. So seeing this is a feel-good moment. And I don't know if anyone else is going to be happy about it because no one always likes to see these little segments because not all the time they're done well and sometimes it can be overdone. But we already know this is a real thing. Melissa did get married to Brian. They have a daughter together. She does a stream, even though the stream and Twitch is not doing well. This is what you get. Your feel-good moment. Final thing, and if I'm forgetting anything, I'm sorry. Wait a minute. Tenille, almost forgot. Tenille Dashwood will be having a match with you're going to have Kiera Hogan deal with a Tenille Dashwood because Madison Rayne did not want to deal with her. That's what we get next week. But this is not about that. This is about the end of the era. The end of the era. And this is LAX against the North. We already know what happened at All Out in AEW. I said this myself, that we know they're leaving. It's been more than announced that we're going to leave, but they just didn't know where they were going to go. They're going to go to WWE or they were going to go to AEW. I said it myself, they're going to go to AEW because they got a lot more creative freedom, because I'm sure friends of theirs that are working in WWE had to tell them, you're not going to get that much, particularly once you're in NXT when it goes to TV. There had to be rumors that people already know NXT is not going to be the same. So they went to AEW. So this was their last match on Impact Wrestling for a while. There's no guarantee they won't come back. But this is the last match they're going to have at Impact, at least for a while, maybe a couple of years easily. Was it a good match? It was 28 minutes long. It wasn't a bad match. And we know that the North won. This is an end of an era. I think they've been there for about 5.5 years. I could be wrong about the time period. It could be a little bit more than that, but I know they came around 2013, 2014 easily. Easily 2014, maybe going into 15. They haven't been there 3 years. They've been there at least 4 damn years. Or 5. 4 or 5 years. No, 4.5 years. They've been there about 4.5 years. And going with the bad storylines or really damn good storylines, Konnan taking up too much time talking for them instead of them talking, they've had a decently good to great run. And I'm going to miss them. But in honesty, I'm glad they're gone. I'm being honest here. I'm very glad they're gone for the simple reason that they needed to leave, because they dominated for so long. There's been no other real teams that we could ever say could do anything. That's the truth. And I know it's not their fault. It's Impact's fault for not writing anyone to be more than just one opponent or 2 opponents. They need like 3 or 4 opponents. You could have done something with Moose and Killer Cross. Willie Mack and Rich Swann could have also been opponents. Of course, the Rascals. Of course, the Dempsey Hit Squad. Hell, Reno Scum, even if they didn't win the titles, could have been challengers that could have been interesting. The Impact brass did not write them properly. And I don't care even if Konnan was involved in it. He didn't make the product better. But in a sense, they did, because they needed to focus on what little they had. I'm going to miss them on Impact, but I'm not going to be too unhappy because they need to build up new teams. And now AEW is going to have really 2 very good wrestlers, possibly with a mouthpiece of Konnan. I don't know if Konnan's going to be with them. Maybe he will. We'll find out once they start in October, not September. They'll start in October, so we'll find out if Konnan's going to be with them. Because they got to be in the tag the tag tournament going for the AEW titles. But it's just me. Have a good day. Have a good night. Peace!